Hello and welcome to Afternoon Tea with Karen. I have some news clips from the Nazis. They've been on the news again. I wonder if the police will now get protest to permit laws and no mask laws like in New South Wales, because these guys usually show up and they'll have a go at changing laws or laws will get changed. And they showed up at 1 in the morning and the police were all organised. Just saying.
Revellers enjoying a night out in Melbourne have been left stunned after a large group of masked men marched through the CBD. A member of the public was injured confronting the group, which had gathered ahead of a national event in regional Victoria. The masked men, led by neo-Nazi Thomas Sewell, was watched closely by police.
Marching through Melbourne. Around 100 people dressed in all black stormed down Bourke Street Mall, while police kept a watchful eye.
This is not protest, this is not democracy, this is hate speech.
All of them masked, except for leader, well-known neo-Nazi Thomas Sewell.
We know who they are. I mean, everybody knows who Thomas Sewell is. Everybody knows what Thomas Sewell stands for.
The National Socialist Network's pop-up parade at 1 a.m. marked the start of a weekend meet-up. It's believed supporters flew in from around the country to attend.
People are flying into Victoria to rally together on a common thread of hate. This is not what Victoria should be about.
Harmful far-right ideologies that honestly has no place in Australian society.
Police followed the group to Flagstaff Station, where they dispersed.
The fact that police were there and couldn't do anything about it, that just makes things so much worse.
While no one was arrested during last night's demonstration, police say a man was assaulted after confronting the group. He was taken to hospital and now police will investigate the circumstances leading into what happened. Police were made aware of a planned event in Moorabool this weekend, and residents of Bacchus Marsh were also warned.
I think it is really scary to think that people are willing to organise like this, to hold such hate in their hearts and let it drive them the way that it does.
The neo-Nazis were collected from the train station and met by a group of counter-protesters.
We know one thing: where white supremacists gather, violence always follows.
The government planned to bring in anti-vilification laws next month and powers for police to unmask protesters soon after.
To outlaw any neo-Nazi and white supremacist organisations operating in this country. Not next month, not next year, not after the next funeral. Now.
Sophie Jacobson, 10 News.
Good evening. 100 neo-Nazis hiding behind black masks have marched through the Bourke Street Mall, spouting hate and threatening violence. Powerless police could do little but follow the white supremacists who've declared Melbourne is becoming the Nazi capital of Australia. Crime reporter Gillian Lantouris.
Melbourne CBD at midnight, mirroring a bygone era. White supremacists take over the Bourke Street Mall, in their own words.
People say that Melbourne is the left-wing capital of Australia. It's becoming the Nazi capital of Australia.
Sadly, Victoria has become the hate state.
One man enjoying a night out had his phone smashed out of his hands.
It's not a peaceful protest at all.
While a 26-year-old was taken to the Royal Melbourne Hospital after spitting at the masked men before he was bashed.
I had an English backpacker. He came up to me. He's like, it's my first night out here. Is it normal for there to be Nazis walking around?
Police powerless, following the crowd through the heart of the city. The far-right group posting this video shortly after.
The police just had to accept our presence. They just simply have to accept the fact that we want to march and that we will march.
To see last night police pretty much having to chaperone the protesters because they can't arrest them. What's that about?
The group is spearheaded by neo-Nazi Thomas Sewell. They spent the night at the Phoenix Caravan Park in Balan. A journalist and a photographer were allegedly attacked before the group picked up other members in Bacchus Marsh ahead of their national conference, where they were greeted with fierce opposition.
They're not nice people. We let them know that we know that.
The Premier condemning the group. Nazis don't belong in this country and they know it. That's why they hide behind masks in the dark. We're not afraid of these goons, but we will not tolerate them either.
We don't need to wait for another Christchurch to happen in our city. to take this growing threat seriously.
While no arrests were made last night, Victoria Police says it respects the right to protest. However, racist, anti-Semitic or hate-based behaviour is not tolerated.
I call on the Premier and the Prime Minister to outlaw any neo-Nazi and white supremacist organisations operating in this country.
They're organising a group of people to target individuals because of their background, and that should be illegal.
Gillian Lantouris is at State Parliament. Jill, the Premier says anti-vilification laws are coming.
Yes, Pete, they have passed in Parliament and will come into effect next month, meaning it will be a crime to incite hatred or threaten physical violence against someone just due to their background. But in December last year, the Premier came forward and said she would strengthen protest laws. She wants to abolish wearing face coverings or balaclavas during protests, which would mean police would have more power to arrest people like we saw last night. They all had their face covered. But this was 8 months ago and still no change. This hasn't been debated in Parliament yet. The state government says this will be debated by the end of the year, but there's certainly mounting pressure on the state government to act faster. Pete.
OK, thank you, Gillian Lantouris at State Parliament.
Welcome to Melbourne, guys. One day we have the pro-Hamas supporters burning flags on our streets. The next day we have the National Socialist Network, in many instances self-confessed neo-Nazis, proudly marching through the streets of Melbourne, complete head to toe in black, wearing their masks, with the Australian flag, with their drums and their regalia, promoting their vision for a white Australia, holding a sign saying, "White man, fight back." This is Victoria. This is Melbourne. And if you're not paying attention, this has been happening now for a couple of months, if not years, where these movements have grown. Now, do you think, as this group claims, that they represent the tip of the spear of what white Australians are feeling when it comes to many of the issues that we're facing in this country, where they now have had to turn to this type of show of force? Only 100 people in this instance, but they say they're growing, to demonstrate to the rest of the public that they've had enough with the issues plaguing this country. One of the main gripes of this group is mass immigration. Now, if you read some of the policy documents that this political group, in some instances that they claim that they have put out, they talk about re-immigration and the getting rid of people who are not white out of this country, and that will solve apparently all of the problems facing Australia. Now, undeniable that this group, if you look through their ideological viewpoints and a lot of the text and the things that they share within their networks, especially their private online Telegram networks, they discuss very heavily Nazism as a major influence. Some of them even celebrate Hitler's birthday. Is that the movement that now apparently white Australia is linked to when it comes to these issues like the mass immigration problem? Is that where we're headed? Now, I personally think that these groups actually poison the well of good intellectual debate and arguments and policies that we can have around these issues. Now, obviously, a lot of this is not cutting through to governments, and yes, a lot of people are frustrated, but does that frustration then tend to support that people want to move towards this extremism? Now, this group says, yes, that's the case. People want this. They're saying that their movement is growing, and that's why they're getting these big numbers now, about 100 or so of them marching through the city of Melbourne. I still think it's a LARP. It helps the authorities. I think it helps the police. It helps people have a boogeyman, for in this instance, because of the way that they carry about this particular issue, and especially in public displays like this, it helps set the stage for governments and policymakers to be like, look, if you are against mass immigration, you are most likely one of these right-wing neo-Nazi types. And they're growing, and we're going to shut them down, and this is how we're going to shut them down. Now, already, the Victoria Police, Jacinta Allen, have come out with statements to that effect. Now, you might say, well, these things are being eroded anyway. Our free speech and our rights are being eroded anyway. But I'm telling you that these particular groups help push that further and further with these provocative acts. Now, let's be honest. This particular group, if you compare it to the crazy pro-terrorist protests that we see throughout the city of Melbourne, they are a lot more well-behaved. You have to give them that. But their ideology, the things that they promote, the things that they wish to do to this country, I believe will be used against anyone else that wants to talk about this problem in a serious and measured way to come up with solutions and get everyone else on board to understand the very real problems we face in Australia. But look, leave your comments under this video. Tell me what you think about the NSN. Tell me what you think about this particular masked march through the streets of Melbourne at 1 a.m. when no one's around. What are they scared of? Well, they're always wearing masks. I always ask these guys, because they do comment a lot on my posts on X, why do you guys wear masks? Even the women that protest in Iran against the regime, they go unmasked. They're not afraid, and they'll be like, oh, well, we don't want to get debanked. We don't want authorities to know who we are. But are they just ashamed of who they are? Are they not willing to sacrifice themselves for this ideological view that they have, that they say is so right and that's so well supported and a popular movement? Why not get it out there, guys? Why not actually put your faces to it? But no. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you guys next time.
Well, we know my thoughts already. They're anti-Antifa. And what does Antifa say when you squeeze them? They go, Nazi, which is why it comes across a bit pantomime. Anyway, I bet these people, half of them, would rock up on the weekends. Anyway, that's it. Except I get to add hurry forward the hate crime laws. And that'll do. See you later. Bye.